Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. In this video, I'm going to talk about Sweet Baby Inc. Remember them? Yeah, I don't think they're going to be getting much work. They are responsible for a lot of the, or at least they were involved in. I'm not going to say they were responsible, but they were involved in a lot of the high-profile AAA failures over the past couple of years, including most notably Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, which basically killed Warner Brothers Games and cost the company like $200 million. There's all kinds of layoffs, and the game is wrapping up in January already as a result of that. But these are the narrative consultants, right? These are basically the sensitivity readers for the video game industry, and they had quite a racket going on, right? They kind of work their way into all these studios, and I don't know how much money they're charging, but they're like, hey, you need DEI, right? Well, we're the DEI company, and we'll come into your studio and we'll tell you everything that's wrong with your game, why it's too racist and too bigoted and too homophobic and too whatever. And you're going to give us money for that because you've got these DEI mandates that you have to abide by, and you don't know what the hell you're doing because then we're looking around the room and you're all a bunch of white guys, stupid white guys. So we're going to tell you what you need to do. And now that DEI is being walked back all over the place, and so many of these games that had DEI consultants have failed, I don't see there being much of a future for Sweet Baby Inc. But they're trying to change the story now, and they've been working with the mainstream media, the mainstream video game journalists to change the narrative. And they tried to say that the Sweet Baby Inc. detected list on Steam, and that's how this whole thing got kicked off, right? This is basically what kicked off Gamergate 2. They were trying with Hogwarts Legacy, but they definitely did it with Sweet Baby Inc. But there's a list out there. It's Cabrutus from Brazil, who had a list of the games that they worked on, and they tried to get that taken down, but they really weren't violating the terms of service. They were just saying, matter-of-factly, hey, if you don't like Sweet Baby Inc. product, then you don't want to buy these games, right? How's it any different than like putting, if you have a nut allergy, if you're allergic to nuts, don't eat a Snickers. Plot twist, I am allergic to peanuts, and I did eat a Snickers once, and I sorely regretted it. I don't like Snickers very much. I'm a Milky Way man. But yes, if you don't like nuts, if you're trying to stay away from nuts, go with Sweet Baby Inc. Actually, be the opposite. Strike that, reverse it. Let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, go out to clownfish-.com. Help support the reef. Go out to clownfishtv.locals.com. Same thing. You get exclusive content, but on Minus, we have merchandise, which is cool. We got like hats and shirts and all kinds of stuff. This comes from Fandom Pulse, John F. Trent, formerly of Bounding Into Comics. I guess they got community noted. Ex-community notes quickly destroys game developers' blatant propaganda and attempts to censor to support the Sweet Baby Inc. lies. That's quite a headline, but it's true. Basically, Sweet Baby Inc. has been trying to change the narrative. They got outed. People are like, why are all these AAA games shitty? Why are they all quote unquote woke? Why do they all have a lot of DEI in them? Why are all the female protagonists suddenly ugly? Why are we shifting, the storyline away from the hero of the franchise to like these side characters? Why do we have, this and that and everything else and all obvious DEI stuff? It wasn't even like done in a clever way. It was like very, very obvious that there were talking points and bullet points that had to be adhered to. And, people did their homework, and Cabrutus did a lot of it, as I understand it. And it wound up that it was this Sweet Baby Inc. So this is their official About Us page. It's founded in 2018. Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video game industry. We aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, more inclusive for everyone. But not every game is for every person, right? Like, I don't have a problem if you've got like a gay furry dating sim. I don't have a problem with that existing. I have no problem with that existing. If you want to play that game, that's fine. Is that game for me? Probably not, but if you want to play it, that's fine. There are a lot of cozy games out there that I would consider quote unquote woke or inoffensive or whatever. Actually, my daughter likes a lot of those kinds of games. They're not really for me. I don't really care. I don't care if they exist. Where the problem is when you try to take existing franchises and they're latching on to the AAA gaming space, and then they're trying to change that to bend that to be these other titles, right? They want it. And again, this is all about platform. It's the same thing in Hollywood. Like there's no problem with there being, my opinion, being niche content for niche audiences. That's not the problem. The problem is when you take an existing franchise. And the reason they do it is if you come up with an indie title, a video game or a movie or a comic or whatever, it doesn't have the brand recognition of a Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? So, or a Suicide Squad, a Batman game, an Arkham game. So they're going to latch on to that bigger platform because they want the biggest megaphone possible. And this is how really a lot of this spread. It was like people that were, look, there's always been niche content for niche audiences, right? Again, I don't have a problem with that existing, but these people wanted to take it to the next level. And they're like, well, my indie dating sim should be as popular as Sony's Spider-Man game. So that's the bigger platform. Let's take all those ideas and push them over to the AAA. And it's the same with Star Wars. Like they tried to turn Star Wars into another franchise. They tried to turn Star Trek into another franchise. She-Ra, that was one of the first examples we saw. It was like, clearly this was Noelle Stevenson's Tumblr fanfic, which is fine, but don't call it She-Ra. Call it like, Super Sword Scissor Sisters or something, because that's what it was. It wasn't She-Ra. So that's kind of how it started. And they wanted to mainstream kind of the niche ideology. And it's not really about making things more diverse and inclusive. It's making things more to your own liking, to your liking, your friends' liking, which is, again, a statistically small group. And we're seeing the result of what happens when you do that. And that's people, the general public does not buy the product. They reject the product. It's not because they're bigots or hate mongers or anything like that. They're rejecting it because you've taken a franchise, an existing franchise, and you've tried to turn it into something else. You've tried to turn it into a fan fiction for yourself and your friends. And this is why I think California in particular, Hollywood in particular, has been gobsmacked by the election and the rejection of mainstream entertainment and media, because they were creating content for themselves, not realizing that it's a big country out there. And, you kind of have to stay middle of the road. Disney's starting to get it. The only reason I think they're pivoting right now is because they desperately need the money. They've had massive failure at the box office because they've listened to the DEI consultants for years. And now it's hitting the gaming industry too. And I honestly think that this could end AAA gaming as we know it. I mean, the amount of layoffs, absolutely astounding. I mean, it's absolutely astounding. So anyway, the person in charge, this Bel Air, the head of Sweet Baby Inc., she's been out there saying a whole lot of stupid stuff that's not really helping their case any. We've had several people from Sweet Baby Inc. say really stupid stuff that's not helping their case any. Again, do I believe that Sweet Baby Inc. is responsible for all of it? I'm like, no, somebody had to pull the trigger on hiring them. But they were a very easy target because they were so prominent, right? I mean, if you're going to go down that rabbit hole, then people go after certain YouTubers or whatever. They go after Gary at Nerdrotics because he's one of the biggest, pop culture critics out there, or critical drinker or whoever. And, so they go after the biggest target. And in this case, it was like, gamers were angry about DEI. They noticed that Sweet Baby Inc. was plastered all over a lot of the high profile failures coming out of AAA gaming, and they became the target. And they actually kind of made the situation worse. They poured kerosene on the situation because they tried so hard to get this list keeping track of their games removed. If they had not done that, I don't think it would have blown up in the way that it did. But again, this was kind of the Streisand effect. And then they tried to erase their connection to different game studios or whatever. They said, the so-called harassment campaign claims that Sweet Baby Inc. has been subjected and was actually a harassment campaign against Brazilian gamer Cabrutus Rambo. Yep. And was started by Sweet Baby Inc. employees. Another Sweet Baby Inc. employee, Chris Kindred, targeted the Steam curator group in Cabrutus Rambo's personal Steam account, writing on X back at the end of February. The Steam curator harassment group Sweet Baby Inc. detected is led by this person. Here's them trying to be slick so they don't get reported, even with the discriminatory language filed off. The group itself still fails the code of conduct. And they're supposedly supporting evidence of that, right? But apparently they got hammered on X via community notes a couple times. Like here's for example, Steam doesn't have guidelines for curators. When was this? This was a while ago, that would prevent someone from starting a curation group that focuses on Sweet Baby Inc. and warns people not to buy games they're associated with, which could just list any game at all. And the community note said the curator uses Sweet Baby Inc.'s website as their source. Yes, actually, Sweet Baby Inc., until the public backlash, had most of the games they worked on their website. And then they scrubbed their website of that information, or most of it. And I think that might have actually been at the request of some of their clients, like, shit, this game's not out yet, and people aren't going to buy it because you worked on it. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for that. It's called anti-help, right? They position themselves as being the solution to the DEI dilemma, which is now over and done with, right? All these companies are walking it back because of situations like this. And what happened was it became a non-binary movement, right? Is that what they're calling it? Non-binary. So here's the thing. This is gamedeveloper.com. When Sweet Baby Inc. was targeted for their advocacy efforts earlier this year, yeah, like they're doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. They get paid for this. They get paid for it. They're paid consultants. A Discord server and a Steam community group played a role in their harassment. We asked, do Valve and Discord consider this within their terms of service? Okay, readers added context. It does not violate Valve and Discord terms of service, as the main goal of the server is simply listing games that SBI is involved in. On the other hand, SBI employees who targeted that Discord server and its owner had violated a bunch of terms of services. Ouch, guys, ouch. Yeah, they did, because they were basically calling for you to mass report Cabrutus and that list. And as far as I know, that list is still up. But yeah, they're trying to save their asses, guys. They're trying to save their jobs. I mean, that's what it is. This was, I mean, you want to talk about grifters. People are like, oh, grifters, the alt-right grifters. I'm like, this was a grift. They saw the DEI thing taking off. They're like, hey, now's our chance to make it big time. We're going to go to all these companies and tell them that we have the solution to their problem. It's called solution selling. Look it up. We're the only ones with the solution to their problem. It's so easy to just hire us to come in and fix your shit, fix your game, so you don't get blowback from the. And it was a racket. Like, if you don't want Polygon and Kotaku to attack your game and tank your game because it's not diverse and inclusive enough, you're going to hire us and you're going to pay us whatever we want. We're going to fix it because we're friends with these people. It's protection money. So that is a racket, right? And it's over because all these companies, they're either laying off, going out of business, or they're just over the DEI stuff. So they know it's game over. But I mean, I think a lot of these people will probably wind up working in the video game industry to some capacity. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, this person is working on this thing, as long as you're not like doxing them or calling for their harassment or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can say, hey, so-and-so worked at Sweet Baby Inc. and oh, they're the director of this game, so you know what you're probably going to get. It's no different than movies or comic books or anything else where you're like, oh, I don't like this person's work. I don't like this particular actor. I don't like this screenwriter. So I'm not going to watch that movie. Thanks for telling me, because now I'd save myself, $10 or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you're saying, hey, go to this person's house and harass them, or, go mass flag them or whatever, that's a problem. That's a problem. But pointing out that somebody that creates content that you don't like is working on a particular project, there's nothing illegal about that. So I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.